and welcome to Martlet Games. I'm Sarah, and I'm the storyteller for this historical Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle called London's Bleeding. What you're about to see is a season 1 epilogue. So if you haven't finished the main run of the chronicle, I encourage you to catch up before viewing this episode on our YouTube channel of the same name. The following events take place just after the events of the finale. Finally, this is a game for mature audiences and will feature troubling themes like war, body horror, and loss of player agency. Take care of yourself above all, so never hesitate to step away should the content become triggering. Now, let's see about Rafe Williams, the fledgling Toreador. Does it shock you to remember that Rafe is so young and in the very first chapter of his own life? The prologue began with his wartime embrace by Marie Orlais, a French toreador madam. It wasn't supposed to happen, a snap decision rooted in desperation. The tower eventually caught up with her and her unsanctioned child, but Rafe escaped with only his memories and a pad of pen and paper on a ship back to England. The country stifled his criticisms of the war. His marriage to Margaret was tested and crumbled, and later, his wife contracted the deadly Spanish flu. Then, a fateful encounter with 3 other kindred and a monstrous creature at Wetterman Hospital in East London. Despite the danger of his present nights, he continues to write, dutifully and eloquently, putting words to paper, highlighting the violence of the Bloody Fist Gang and maintaining the masquerade. Rafe more than once came to the aid of both mortals and kindred in need throughout our story, harnessing unusual powers of soothing and healing, perhaps the most in touch with his humanity. He simulated breath in the cold winter air, smoked and drank, pleasure all but unavailable to his kindred associates. However, Lillian, his coterie mate of happenstance from the clan of kings, trampled him early and often, even becoming the voice of his beast. At the end of our story, we find their unlives impossibly entangled, twisted. Lillian, on the night of the Christmas strike, manipulated Margaret in the early stages of her flu recovery, promising charity, abundance, and a new home away from East London. She also gave Margaret her vitae in order to expedite her recovery, or so she claimed. Not only that, but Lillian sent Margaret and her home nurse Iris to her residence, where they'll await the Ventrue's direction. And Rafe is still completely unaware. We begin the night after the events of the finale, where Rafe awakens from day sleep in his humble East London flat. If you will please make your rouse check at this time.
Of course. Succeed.
Okay, sounds good. So like I said, you're awakening in your apartment and maybe you take a glance in the mirror as soon as you awake.
The hell? What? What happened? He takes his glasses off and he gets right up to the mirror and he's looking dead in his eye. He's noticing he's looking a little more sunken around the cheeks, maybe. The
little darkness in the eyes, perhaps.
That last little spark of his humanity might have finally winked out.
But inevitable with the events leading up to this, I think.
Unfortunately, and he knows deep down that he made the wrong choice, that he should have stayed, but in the heat of the moment, he let his greed get the better of him, and his touchstone was in possible danger, and he chose to go gallivanting off for adventure and abandon his touchstone to fate. And he's maybe come to regret that decision. He's feeling a little less human now. He's still not going to. He's not going to stand out by any means. He can still easily blend in with the mortal herd, but it's going to become a lot harder to blend in seamlessly.
Yes. If you remember at home, actually in the same session, Rafe incurred two stains, which in this game with a 1.5 stain modifier means three stains total. And he has accepted what he's become.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps there's regret, but there's also acceptance.
Right. So, yes, on paper, he has now gone from humanity 8 to humanity 7.
That's correct. So, anything you are doing upon waking after that brief look in the mirror?
Well, that was a little disconcerting. I've I desperately need to go about tracking down the people that I need to start making G.L. Thornborough just disappear and replace him with. Oh, how about I like Maxwell Jameson.
Okay, so
Maxwell
you'll
Jameson.
all right, so the seed is planted for this new journalistic identity, and we'll make some rolls off camera
Yes.
to discuss the terms of that later. So you're sort of going over all of this stuff in your mind, and you hear like almost like a very faint knock, not a forceful one, but just like knuckles rapping on your flat door.
I activate heightened senses.
You hear an extended inhalation and exhalation, but no talking or voice.
The breathing, the mortal. Um, the mortal, they're not going to just come barging in, otherwise they would have done it already. Rafe's going to leave the trench knife in the lap drawer of his desk, and
Okay.
just gonna go up to the door, unlock it, and open it just a crack and peek through. Hello.
And you will see a white man of average height and really, really curly brown hair sticking out of the sides and back of his flat cap. And he smiles like very amicably, and he says, um, Mr. Williams, is that uh
Yes.
I'm here on behalf of Miss Crawford.
Oh right. Do I recognize this man as one of her drivers?
Um, yeah, he's probably been in rotation. He's a younger guy.
Okay.
He's not necessarily as rough and tumble as the types are in East London. Like his clothes are very clean. They're not fancy. They don't suggest affluence, but he probably gets paid decently well by Lillian, and you've definitely seen him in the driver rotation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The lad's down in the car.
The lads.
Right. We going to go meet Miss Crawford.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And he inhales again and finishes this cigarette and just puts it out on the floor of the hallway. Um right, well, she's waiting, so we better go.
All right. All right. Quickly. All right. I go and I put on that new coat, his Christmas
Oh
present.
yeah. That's right.
He doesn't need it, but keeping up appearances. Uh,
Sure.
and I'll follow the valet down to the car.
Okay, so you follow to the car. It's just one of Lillian's fleet. Nothing stands out about it, and we're just gonna have you all get in the car and make your way. Did you want to talk to him on the ride up or no?
Just a brief moment.
Okay.
All right. Where the lads? Where's Tommy and Walter?
Um, I believe she just means to see you, not the others.
Right. She, of course, she wouldn't tell you anything that what this is about. You're beneath notice. Um,
And he sort of gives a little smirk that you can't see as he's driving.
um, Storyteller is Margaret's flat on the way to Lillian's.
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
It
All
would
right.
be going out of your way for
Okay.
sure.
All right. So
Yeah.
I won't be trying to divert. Just is he Rafe has he's internalized that the Nosferatu surely kept an eye on her. There's she's fine.
Sure.
She's got to be just fine. There's nothing wrong. Um, so how much does Miss Crawford pay you, lad?
I don't know. It's really polite to say.
All right. Well, I mean, from one working bloke to another. I mean, do you
Um,
can you keep a roof over your head and food in your stomach? That's what I'm asking.
well, it's not my only job. Got many jobs, mate. Just one amongst many.
Right, but I
This
mean,
is the best paying one.
I
That's
was
for
okay.
certain.
That's
Absolutely, it contributes. But as you see, I mean, I do okay for myself. I can go to the pub whenever I want in Wapping.
right, and like the rest of the staff, they're treated right.
I mean, as far as I can tell,
Right,
I just drive when she tells me to drive. I don't ask questions. She don't like that.
right. Well, she's really going to love having me as a friend then, unfortunately. All right. Well, you spent any time over on the continent during the fracas there?
Nah, I got weird leg, mate.
Oh, oh, lucky that. You count your blessings, lad. It was not pretty over there.
Oh, I believe you. Didn't want to go. I mean, little weird can't be there for my flagging country, as it were, but probably
To
better off.
Look, to be perfectly honest, I'd say at least 8 out of 10 of the officers out there didn't want to be there either, lad.
Does anyone? Well, some want to be in a war, I suppose.
Those kind of people are the ones that think they need to be in charge, and they really shouldn't either.
Yeah, bad sort.
Right. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. As the that was a nice. Okay, we're done making the small talk with the help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's content. He's not going to be like trying to make further conversation with you because the less he knows, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll arrive there, very uneventful car ride. And he'll get out. He'll get out of the car. He'll park it. He'll open up the door for you, and sort of escort you up to the front door. And he's like, oh, all right, I got to bring the car around, to somewhere else. So, good luck, mate.
Right. And I kind of look up at the house. Just kind of leave the driver to his own devices. Maybe button up the top button of the coat just for appearance sake,
Mm-hmm.
and approach the door and knock if there's not someone there immediately to let me in.
And actually, before you can knock, one of the servants of the house opens the door. It's actually from previous episodes. It's a short, stocky woman who probably in the upper echelon of the servants of the house, perhaps not like the head servant, but she's up there and working all the time. So she opens the door and she says, "Oh, Mr. Williams, come in."
All right, thank you, Mom. I come in and start taking my coat off.
Okay, and she'll help you with your coat, and she'll hang it up in a closet in this sort of foyer area. And she bows her head really quickly and says, all right, I'm off to fetch her. Just be a moment.
All right, thank you, Ma'am. Mm, I
So
just
she scurries off. Yeah.
and Walter's being polite and respectful in her space. He's staying put. He's his eyes are just taking in the surrounding chamber, but he's not going out of his way to start snooping or poking. He's just waiting for the mistress of the house to arrive.
Sure. And in the room, in this foyer, there's like kind of a medium-sized round table with a really nice looking tablecloth and some um probably faux flowers due to the time of the year, arranged in a really bountiful display. There's kind of like these cabinets on the side that are also that kind of dark oak with this hint of burgundy. And the house,
Starting to sketch the floral arrangement actually with my notepad.
yeah. Oh, okay. And it smells very good in here. Maybe it's just East London has like kind of messed you up for your smells, but you're just like, wow, like it just is distinctly, it's not only clean, but it's also pleasant smelling.
That's what happens when you
Um,
spend the past 48 hours playing with the Nosferatu.
yeah,
You know,
that's bound to happen. So we'll just cut to Lillian then quickly. The servant, where are you hanging out in your residence right now?
I'm probably in a sitting room or next to a fire or something.
Absolutely. So you'll be actually in that same sitting room where you regaled the other Crawford girls with the Christmas story. So same with these heavily burgundy upholstered chairs, fireplace, more flowers, more cabinets, more luxury. Uh so she'll enter and she has high deference and respect for the mistress of the house, but she's not maybe as meek as some of the other ones. Like she knows what she's doing. She's been around long enough and she knows what you want and what you don't. So she comes in, shoulders back. Miss Crawford, Mr. Williams is here.
Might as well get this over. It was a good year. And she's just gonna walk past.
Okay, and she'll just assume that you'll call on her should you need her assistance. And so she'll just go back to her regular household duties. She's probably going back to the kitchen right now. So you I guess enter into the foyer where Rafe is standing and sketching.
Ah, Rafe.
hello.
Good of you to come.
I guess I've haven't deviated from my course, and I've stayed right here in this room, as you've instructed, Mom.
As I said, good of you to come.
Right. It's not that I have a choice in the matter.
Oh, no, 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 you misunderstand. You've always have a choice. You just chose correctly.
Right. I do have to say thank you for your sire's assistance in the strike, but I do have to return and check in on my wife.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you like wine?
Of course.
What was your preference? Did it really matter? Someone in your status, that is.
I would have to say, Merlot. would happen to be my favorite mum.
This one right here was a lovely Merlot. It was a very good year, and yes, uh, it's the small things that add up to become large things, the small things that you miss, the small things that don't seem of consequence that become just that. Let me start. There's a point to all this, you see. I really liked wine before, and now I can't really have it, not and enjoy it. There were many things that I really liked, many, many things that I hoped to hold dearly in the future that are of no consequence now, not so much, but if leveraged correctly, could become very much of consequence. Um, I'm going to start by saying that your wife, I need you to understand,
What about
she
her?
let me finish. She is quite safe, I assure you, safe and sound. But when I found her, she was very ill, nearly to death's door. If I assessed the situation correctly, she was quite ill. Why didn't you make that go away? Why didn't you make her well again when you had the chance? You do know you're capable of doing such, don't you?
Of course. It's just I didn't have the choice when I was turned. And I wouldn't do that to her because she was not in the state to make that decision. I need to know, Miss Crawford. Is my wife safe? Mom.
Yes, she's quite safe, I assure you.
Right now, Rafe is not in the best state of mind. Go ahead. Alright, I have rolled 2 successes on a willpower roll.
Okay, you beat me to my request, so nice job.
Right.
There's no need for you to retreat into mortal emotions like that. All I'm asking is I'm asking for you to answer the question. Why didn't you do it?
Because she couldn't choose.
I thought you might say something like that. All right. I'm going to need you to listen to me very carefully, and please try not to interrupt and keep up, if you would. When I encountered your lovely wife, very lovely, I might add, would have done well in a higher status, I'm sure. Nonetheless, she was very ill, and, well, to be quite honest with you, not able to be moved. So, you put me in a very uncomfortable predicament. But I ensured that she would be well enough for a trip. One thing you should understand, though, what I did is not binding, it is temporary. I mean, she'll stay well, but any effects that are directly related to me are only going to be temporary. I would not have been able to have gotten her out of that place in the ill-bedded state that she was in, not without being seen by unsavourable people. And this could have all been so much worse. I'm going to give you a bit of a lesson. Whatever you decide to do from there is completely up to you. You are part of the Camarilla, and I'm afraid you are very young, and so therefore you are not as adept to understand the nature of many who thrive at the tower as I have become. To leave your wife in this predicament that she is in currently, well, minus what I have given her, would not go unnoticed by those who needed leverage from you, by those who stood more to gain than you realize. You might have thought that you could keep that part of your existence quiet, but I assure you that's not the case. Now, I really didn't have much of a need to look into your background so much, but there will be those who will have that inclination to do so, that will dig and dig through whatever names you use. Bela alone should have given you that hint that you can't keep anything hidden for too long. He knew about you. He knew about your identity. You're lucky that he wasn't an unsavory character. You're lucky that he wasn't, say, Bollingsworth or worse. You have a choice in front of you now. You can keep her safe by ghouling her yourself, giving her your blood, binding her to you so that she will be a bit stronger and be able to protect herself a bit better. You can embrace her into the life that we know, and she may share it with you for as long as she desires. I will warn you, though, there is always that day. It always comes when they don't desire it anymore. Eternity is a very long time, you see, and, well, if my regards with my relationship with Bela is any example, you understand. Or your other option that would keep her safe would be to let her go. I have procured a safe haven for her, of her choosing, her and her nurse. You can let her go and let her live out her days among the mortals, never see her again, ensure that she never remembers you, and be done with it. And she will do just that. She will live, she will grow old, and she will become part of the earth once again. And you, Rafe, will be as you are now, never aging, Perhaps a little bit more intelligent, I'd hope. Perhaps a little more reserved and refined. But just as you are right now. Of course, there is also the choice to not take into consideration anything that I have told you, anything that I've said, and continue about your days like you are, like you have been, allowing her to become ill, nearly dying, allow those to know that she is a very much so a part of your existence, one that is heavily held in high regard, one that can be leveraged against you, should someone choose to do so. But I wouldn't advise it. Take it from someone who knows the value of family. There is a great deal of reason why I am in the position that I am, why I am not a status climber of the Camarilla, and rather I want them to come to me and ask me for favors, why I make the agreements that I make, why I have the protection that I have, why my closest of my family are as close as they are, and why I ensure they are stronger than the average mortal. I don't intend on anyone to ever be levied against me. It is something that you should take into consideration, because you won't just have Camarilla wanting to find a piece of you they can use to their advantage. You also have Sabbat members who, the moment you write a report of something regarding their organizations, that's the moment your wife becomes part of a shovel party, or worse, they could use her to train the others in the worst sort of way. Do you understand? You've put yourself in a very grave position by continuing in this manner. You've put her in a very grave position by continuing in this manner. And I am telling you this because simply I think you could do better. Should you have proper education.
To be perfectly honest, Mom, I'm going to repeat back to you something that you said to me one of the first nights that we met. She is mine. Mine. I understand that you approach this from a position of charity and out of a sense of duty. The venture are all about their noblesse oblige. I've learned that hard and well. She was mine. You had to do what you did, whatever you did. Whatever path forward that you think is best, Miss Crawford, well then perhaps I should just go along with it. Because you obviously know better, you obviously have no concern for the feelings of those that you work with, and you obviously have no heart, madam. It's clear that your soul was ripped clear out of your throat the day that you were embraced, and quite frankly, I can't do what I want to do. So thank you for the object lesson, Miss Crawford. Thank you very much.
And Rafe, after this lecture that Lillian gave you, you're gonna take a superficial willpower damage. Just one though.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you already rolled for anger again. Okay,
That was 2.
good. All right, that's fine. So, what is Lillian's response to this?
Do you feel better now?
No, I don't.
Why is that?
Because it's already done and there's nothing I can do about it short of whatever I need to do in the future to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
You say I have no soul. Let me assure you that I do, but not one I'm willing to allow someone to harbor against me. Had I not had a soul, or a heart, or whatever it is you decided to just spout from your lips, your wife would very likely already be dead. Not by my hand, you see. But it would have happened.
Choice.
It wouldn't have been my decision. What you need to understand is if I had not had these things that you accuse me of not having, I would have left her there. Because she was ill and unwell enough to be removed from a potential war zone on the streets.
That's not what the nurses said. The nurses said she was recovering, and that's why she was discharged.
No, she was not recovering. She was dying and they needed a spare bed. She was barely even conscious when I talked to her. Fever-prone.
I want to roll to sense motives here.
Okay, so I guess you can give me a wits and insight for that.
All right. What would be a good contest for that?
And and then Lillian, go ahead and give me
God damn this fucking thing. Stop it! Jesus. I will not let you make me a meme.
Right. Go ahead and Lillian, give me manipulation. I know it's a high one.
Oh yeah, I know this.
It's like I
will
feel
say,
like it has to be that.
do I need to roll? Because in Lillian's opinion, this is actually what, when as you described it, this is what she saw.
I'm still gonna ask you to roll.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know because that's in her perspective. My understanding was she was very ill still.
Okay, that's cool. Still give and for this one, give me manipulation and like intimidation, since it's not subterfuge. It's kind of getting your point across in a way that will make him stop questioning you.
To be perfectly honest, you could probably win by taking half.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too, but we'll just do it for funsies.
I got 3 successes.
Well,
yeah.
Sorry to
I got 4, and one of them is a crit.
Yeah.
Well.
Yep.
So you're so Rafe.
Rafe. Okay, he believed. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, you buy it. You buy it. You really feel like this is what she believes, and so she's passing this on to you. And I mean,
yep.
The thing that's coming across is like she's doing you a favor, not only by, kind of extracting Margaret from this situation, giving her vitae, and then also just laying out this ultimatum for you. Like you feel like she is like doing what she thinks is like the best course of action.
Yep. Look, Miss Crawford, if I wanted to do what you thought was necessary, I would have done it already. Choice. And she was mine. I
understand that. And she still very much is yours. I have no intentions of holding that bond at all.
What would you have done if I had done more than feed from Bess unknowingly or unknowingly that she was your property, for lack of a better term?
I didn't feed from your wife.
I know, but
it's not the same. They're two different things. Had you fed from Bess, I would have likely killed you. Had I fed from your wife, I would have likely expect you to try to kill me. Had Bess been sick with the influenza or anything, and I not had found her yet when I did, had any of those matters, had any of those become a situation, and you gave her your blood so that she wouldn't die, I would have been grateful, though I wouldn't have told you that. You would have probably still been scorned a bit, because that is what I do. I get my point across, and I would have taken her back and told you that she was mine, much like you're doing now. But she'd be alive, and I would expect anyone who cared for her at all, or who valued my opinions or thoughts, would have done the same.
Well, whatever my connection with Bess in the past was, I didn't know that she was yours. However, you damn well knew that she was my wife.
Tell you what, next time I'll let her die. Does that make you feel better?
Actually, it does. To be perfectly honest, it does.
All right, then.
Choice, Miss Crawford, choice.
And I made one. I made one that got her into a safe and secure location and promised her a home. Not there, but a home where she could actually flourish, should you choose to allow that or not. That is your choice. I made mine. You made yours the moment you left her in my care. You made your choice to allow me the freedom to choose what I needed to do to keep her safe. And I made that choice, Rafe. We both made choices that night. Mine leaves her to be alive.
Rafe's going to stand there and just kind of look about the room.
Please don't even think about trying to set my house on fire or anything foolish like that. I quite like the swelling.
We're well past that, Miss Crawford. We are well past that.
And you can almost see in the back of your mind, Rafe, just the entire thing going up in a conflagration as you look on in satisfaction, not even knowing about Lillian's background.
Look, Miss Crawford, I understand that we're acquaintances brought together with a task and nothing more, and I have no qualms of ever thinking that it's ever going to be more than that. So, once his business with Ballingsworth is done, we're done. You won't see me darkening your doorstep again. And wherever I decide to end up, whether it's staying here in London, going to Ireland, the continent, or going to the States, don't knock on my door again. He's going to turn and he's going to walk out and leave.
Okay, so Rafe, unless Lillian is saying anything else or trying to...
She's just going to... before you go, don't you want to see her?
He's going to stop.
I told
you know what? Give me one more anger, because I like the 3 and out thing, so that's perfect for this. So go ahead and give me one.
That's
One
good.
last one.
I like that.
And don't forget, I'm hoping you're adding your +2 to resist die. Okay.
Yeah.
You still have that even at humanity 7.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we crushed that mother. All right, that's 4, 5, 6 with the crit, or 6 with
Wow.
6 on a crit. Yeah.
And so let's say then with that outcome of the roll, you, despite the ultimatum, despite the lecture, despite her reaching her hand into your life, just as she had slapped yours away in your interactions with Bess, even not knowing that she had any connection to Lillian. There's some last spark of resolve in you that you took it, you sat there, you didn't have any kind of outburst, you said your piece, you made your feelings known. And you're walking out of here not bent and cowed like before, but with some kind of sense of purpose, even though there's still anger and resentment and maybe even a little fear bubbling under the surface. But for whatever reason, right now, you're able to erect that wall to keep yourself strong.
And so Rafe's standing there. He knows he in that deep dark part of himself that is most in line with what the beast wants and what the beast says, knows that Lillian is 100% correct, and he hates himself for knowing that she is correct, that this was only a matter of time. But there's that brief moment of that brief moment of longing where he wants to, but he doesn't say a word and he just leaves.
And Rafe will exit, and Lillian, I presume that like this, maybe the same guy will drive him back, or
Oh,
no,
he's going to
gonna...
refuse. No,
Oh,
he.
you're not.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
you don't want that.
No,
No,
I'm
enough.
pretty sure that if he walked
Okay.
out, she wasn't sending the driver.
no.
But,
Okay.
He is going to. It's, you know what? It's the day after Christmas. The pubs are open again.
The pubs are open again.
The pubs are open again, even though with the flu. Yeah, it's hard saying.
Listen, people didn't social distance, especially after war and at Christmas. Most people weren't worrying about it, unfortunately. Mm. So there's still lots going on, like you said.
I would like to state that I probably have sent somebody after him.
Okay.
Just to give him a letter. Just a small little note. And
okay, I'm making a note of that.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you what it would say now, or do you want me to wait?
Why don't you wait? But we'll say that Lillian, unless you want to say it.
It would have literally just been something really small. Just
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So he's probably walked out the front gate. Mm-hmm. And he's made it down. He's gonna start walking towards the Thames from Lillian's, just because she's southwest of. I can't
Let
quite
me.
remember where her
Right.
house is.
I have a little map screenshot. I'm just gonna reference here really quickly,
Right.
just so we can get this right. Um, do do do. Here we go. London. She actually lives like quite a bit west. So she's
Oh.
technically still north of the Thames. Because the
You
Thames
got a
kind
long
of
walk.
does this. Yeah, yeah, you're not
Okay.
really gonna be able
Long walk
to
home.
yeah,
Yeah.
long walk home. I
Long
mean,
walk home.
you can do it. It's
Yeah.
just gonna take a really, really long time. Yeah, she lives in the Notting Hill area.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
yep, long walk home. He's not going to stop for any diversions. It's a long walk home, and he maybe gets a couple of streets down before the runner catches up to him.
Okay.
And they will give you a note. And it'll just have your name written on the front of it in pretty little handwriting.
I open it.
And it will say, should you change your mind, I know where she'll be. Lillian.
Just gonna fold it up and put it in the inner pocket of his vest,
Okay.
just in case.
All right.
And
Um,
that's all that Lillian would do. I can get with you on arrangements and stuff like that for Margaret and all that stuff later. But yeah, that would be it.
So Rafe took the long way home, walking back from Notting Hill to East London, extremely far distance. Um, kind of maybe peering into these pubs that probably, even despite the flu, have mortals celebrating both the holiday and war's end. So he'll probably hear the laughing, the hooting and hollering, but eventually he just ends up back at his flat. And at this point, it's past midnight, easily. So did you? So you're walking in to your flat area, and a vision in front of you, right outside your door, is a woman. She looks like a Renaissance painting. She's a little taller than average. She has curvaceous features. She still keeps her chestnut hair wavy at the bottom. She still keeps it kind of long despite the fashion of the time. But she's very much dressed in fashion in her garments, in a navy blue dress with a skirt and a beautiful mauve coat, a wool coat. And you recognize her instantly. And she looks at you, and her eyes light up.
Rafe switches to French.
Okay.
Marie, is that you?
Yes, it's me, Rafe.
No, that's. Yes.
Didn't you
No,
get my note?
I got your note. This is just not a. He's looking up and down, making sure that no one has seen. Get inside. Get. Yeah, and he goes and he's frantically trying to open the door. And he eventually, manages to work the lock and lets her in. and closes the door, locks it, and just stands there and kind of stares at her and takes her in for a moment. I I didn't think you would have made it.
I didn't think I would either. Would you like to walk with me in the night and I'll tell you the story?
And he stands there. There's a lot on his weighing him down right now.
Yep.
I suppose
I won't keep you. I
I
just want to tell you where I've been, what happened, and I'll leave you be after that. But I just had to see you.
I this is your timing is your timing is rather unfortunate. I'm not in the I'm not in the best state right now, but I would be glad to walk with you again. That would be nice. Yes.
And Marie puts her hand on your shoulder
I
and she looks at you with some fondness, some pity, and she kind of cocks her head to the side. Our timing was never right, was it, darling?
no no it wasn't
Why should it be any different now then? Come now.
right. And there is a sick uh, sense of irony to this whole situation. This is yeah, the wrong place, wrong time across multiple circumstances, and just the weave and weft of fate just seems to keep bringing. Yeah, Rafe and Marie have a very complicated relationship. As all child,
As we may discover
yep.
on this walk that you're going to have, and as a storyteller, I'm just salivating, baby. So, you will leave your flat, um, and let's say, you're actually going to walk not too far from where you live. You're going to go to Wapping Gardens.
Okay.
So this is just it's kind of just like an open green park. There's not really too much in it at this time. It's kind of just another one of those rare green spaces in the urban landscape. It's really not very big. So you'll probably just walk inside it and along the perimeter. There's a couple of trees, maybe some beds of flowers that are, gone because it's December.
Yeah.
So you'll just kind of walk east. And you walk in silence for a while. She seems to be, the gears are turning. She's measuring like how she wants to give you this information. And as you like walk into the gardens, now, are you, this is difficult. It's frankly, it's embarrassing and humiliating what happened to me.
Yes, I mean, the last I saw of you stayed behind in that basement so I could get out. That was the what? Yes, please tell me what happened, please.
She looks down, and if she still breathes, she would unleash a heavy sigh. Well, the sheriff was there, as you know. You escaped. He, I assume, was preparing to bring down my final death. I don't know what manner he was planning, but at the last moment, he looked over me. And, of course, the agendas of the kindred in France struck a chord in his mind, I presume. He told me I was very beautiful. And instead of dealing final death, he simply staked me through my heart, and he delivered me back to Vion.
That certainly explains a lot then.
You see, I'm not sure if I ever told you this, but Vion at the time, the prince, rather, he was often away and seeing this Zimit's paramour, and the court didn't care for it. She was strange, and they were hoping that he would tire of his dragon. And so the sheriff offered me, staked, presented me to the prince. But, and this looks like it truly pains her, he took no interest. And so I remained staked. The sheriff took me out of Paris, drove me outside the city into the country, and sunk me in the Etang de Douaumont, a pond.
I know the place.
Rather quiet, away from the city life. But I remained there for some time. I don't remember how long. Time in these past few years really has lost all meaning to me. And what the sheriff didn't know was there was another Rose that I was bonded to long ago. And he and I would come to the pond when the city life became too much for us and the demands of the court were too many and we needed an escape. And somehow he got wind of my disappearance. He came to the Etang and he fished me out. I just drowned, wet rat, fished up by an old flame. I hadn't thought of him in a decade.
And now you're here.
Yes, the paramour didn't make it, though. They'd rescued me, poor lad.
Right.
But yes, I made my way to London after that. I felt I couldn't stay in France. I couldn't let the prince know that I had been set free. It would be lunacy for me to return to France at this point. Well, to Paris at least. Maybe some other part of France, but certainly not the city.
Right.
And like you said, now I'm here. And she gives kind of a small, sad smile at that.
He returns the gesture almost identically. Well, not much to tell on my end. I uh, After the sheriff burst in, I left. I honestly, I'd thought about going back in after you, and I knew that wouldn't have done us any good. If I'd done that, we both would have been dead. But no, scrambled back to the coast. Managed to get passage on a ship back here. To be perfectly honest, this was able to, I knew some people who owed me some favors. It wasn't that difficult, but anyways, came here, ended up falling in with a Malkavian, runs a brothel in the neighborhood, keeps me fed. Been doing stuff for Sheriff Pa. Rolling with the Nosferatu gang. All in all, fairly standard London existence. For
The
my
Nosferatu.
Yeah, down below
I
the Thames.
It's rather ghastly.
It is. It's not that bad if you can get past the bugs,
Oh no.
but
No.
no, the local Nosferatu boss had it in for another gang up on top, and got in a little bit of a fracas last night. I'm sure you might have heard of it.
Yes, there are, as they always are, rumors circulating. The tower is very strong in London.
Right. And Rafe will probably stand there for a moment or three. So what do you want, Marie?
I just wanted to tell you my plans for the future, give you some closure.
Oh, I could go for some of that right about now.
Well, I don't know if you'll like what I have to say,
No.
but
Par for course for the evening. All right. Great. I'm sorry. I should be in a much better mood, but it's been a rough couple of days. I'm sorry. I should be more respectful. I'm sorry.
listen, we're past all that now. I I understand it's very difficult in these nights, and I don't know exactly what you're going through. It sounds very difficult. So no apology necessary, but I don't want to keep you. I and at as she gets ready to start this like declaration about what's going on in her future, she visibly brightens and her eyes light up and the corners of her mouth can't help but go into a smile. Well, um I once I got to London, I did some of my work from my previous life. Not very difficult in London.
No.
Turns out the world's oldest profession here and everywhere globally. And once I had received some money, of course, I needed to go to the tailor,
Of
procured
course.
some garments, and needed them fitted to me, of course. And I had just received a client just outside of East London, so I went in just to review the rabble and see what's going on in that area. Sometimes you find a rose amongst the concrete.
Of course.
And there was this young man working as an apprentice to the tailor. It's funny, his surname is Taylor as well.
Oh, well, that's how the old surnames. Whatever. Yes, but interesting.
Well, we became enamored very quickly. We started talking, and I. He's my last chance, Rafe. He's my last chance. So, what I'm going to do is I'll give him my blood, but this time I'll inform him immediately. And eventually I'll bring him into the night with me. We'll go back to France in the south. Pastoral, idyllic. And we'll remain there in love. My forever companion.
Right.
And that is how I will remain the rest of my days with him.
Except, of course, we talked about doing the same thing, Marie. We talked about all of the things we would do after the war, and I understand that this time you're not going to have bombs going off all around you. You're not going to have the chaos of the front all around you, but that's just, can't you just leave the lad be? Just let him.
You want me to break his heart?
I've been in a look. I'm in a very, very bad state of affairs right now, Marie. My perspective on things is going to be quite different now than what it was 2 years ago, even. I mean, I loved you. I'd like to think that you loved me too.
I did, of course.
But I didn't really have a choice in the matter, though. Did I?
That's why I said I'm doing things differently this time. I'm going to keep him abreast of the situation. I'll take into account his feelings, and don't you understand? The war's over.
The war's over. The war's over, Marie. Yes. I I don't want to say anything that's going to break your heart. So, look, whatever happens, just know that I want you to try to do right by the lad. I'm not going to be able to stop you. Whatever you want to do, it's on you, but now that I've been free from the bond for a while now, I see things how they are. I know you did what you did with the best of intentions, but I've had my perspectives and priorities drastically changed here within the past let's just say I had a very long walk back home from where I started my evening, and I've had a lot of time to think on that trip. And I mean, I got your letter, and yes, I knew that we would be having this conversation eventually. And he's actually going to try to reach out and maybe just gently take her hand. But
She'll put her hand in yours.
but yeah, if you're going to fall in love, do it with someone who's already dead.
It's just not the same, is it?
You know it's not. You're in love with being in love, Marie.
That's who I am. I've been this way even as a mortal.
I know that, and I'm just. I wish I didn't see it earlier, and that's part of the. My life has been a very long string of mistakes here lately, Marie. Going to the continent to cover the war was the start of the very long chain of them, and the latest link in that chain has. I don't know. So lad's name is
But
Taylor.
yes, John. And don't you understand? I'm trying to do it right this time. I'm trying to get it right. For me, thinking of you, thinking of all the others in the past, this is it. This is going to be the last, the final. This is the perfect time
The,
to have a beautiful romantic life.
how long have you been in the city?
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
How long have you known that I made it back?
I I did have a contact here that I was able to dig up after some effort, and I knew almost immediately when I got back to London.
So, what's different? What's different now?
I've learned with you. You taught me. You taught me to be more forthcoming, which, as I said, I am and I will be with John. And at the mention of that name again, I know this is going to sound weird, but I would like you to please roll wits and investigation.
Uh huh. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Decent pool for you. So.
Yes, it is quite a bit. For I'm still at hunger 1. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Uh, that is 1, 2, 3 successes.
Whew. Just enough. And at the back of your mind, you start to make these connections. The name John Taylor, the Taylor family.
Corporal Taylor.
Maybe not. You
Mm,
think of Walter.
right. Yes. That was the direction. Yeah. Well, I mean, out of character, I don't know about the Taylors, but yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And you remember in Walter's brief mentioning of Clarence and of the boys that he takes care of, not only in his tribe, but in this mortal family. John is the eldest Taylor son.
So John Taylor's the lad's name.
I mean, yes, that's what he told me. I have no reason not to believe him.
Right. Oh. Uh, what's you intend on marrying the lad after only knowing him for just a couple of weeks, and you obviously would have met his family. What's his family's name? What's his father's name? What's his mother's name? Siblings?
Um, he told me his father's name is Clarence, but he hasn't been around much since the war ended. Bit absent. Mother is Edna. Seems nice enough. And then two other younger brothers. I can't remember their names.
Oh.
But yes, the feelings we had were very intense. And frankly, the young man is looking for a way out.
Well, look at London. Do you blame him?
Not at all. And why shouldn't I provide that to him if I have the means, which I do, to take him somewhere stunning and away from the abject squalor that.
I'm sorry. Out of character,
Go ahead.
do I know enough to make that connection yet? If not, or to make the connection to make the connection to Walter.
I think you do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to
on your roll. Yeah, your roll passed the difficulty that I said, so
Okay.
I would assume that you. I mean, again, you don't know the intricacies of the family dynamic or even like what, but just in spending the time with Walter, you know the Taylors are this family that he takes care of. And
Understood.
yeah, it's a common name, but you know especially that the oldest son's name is John and the wife's name is Clarence's wife's name is Edna.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Marie.
Yes, Rafe.
I'm going to tell you this very, very slowly and very, very carefully, so you can know that I speak the truth. And I will actually take her other hand, so we're both kind of hand in hand, kind of looking at each other. When I say that family is protected by a very strong, very powerful, very bloodthirsty gangrel, and you need to get the fuck out of London right now before he realizes what's going on, you're going to do it.
But surely he's not some kind of elder. Dogs mean nothing to me. I mean, yes, they're very scary and they bark a lot, but one look from me and I send him on his way.
He's in my coterie, Marie.
And she's silent, just blinking.
Now,
the cold, still air around both of you, just hanging heavy.
That being said, I'm... On one hand, I feel like I should immediately let him know what's going on, just because of what I just had happen to me, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to exit out of that before things get worse for you. I will not interfere, I promise you that. I do owe you that much. If you deserve a chance to be happy, even though I'm saying this as someone who, I still love you to some extent, Marie, but you are going to get yourself killed, and you're looking at one of your object lessons right now, talking to you, staring at you right in your face.
And she smiles kind of knowingly, maybe like a bit too understandingly for the information you've just provided for her. And she removes her hands from yours and puts them on the sides of your face. But what else would I die for but for love?
He does smile at that. That's that's what made me initially fall for you. You know, the attitude that you carry about life, and just, I don't know if you were even just going through the motions, but you seem to still care about the mortal world, about how the kind exist. You care about their feelings, or at least trying to emulate their feelings. And you do what you feel is best with the young boy. But I won't share your secret with you or with him out of the out of the portion of your blood that still flows through my veins. But know that if he catches wind of what you've done and what you intend on doing, Mithras himself wouldn't be able to stop the hell that's going to come down on your head, and I guarantee you I'm going to have to be along for the ride, and there will be nothing I will be able to do to stop it.
And she removes her hands from the side of your face and they drop to her sides. And she bows her head. You may be right. If he's your gangrel friend, if he's really in your coterie, as you say, perhaps it's just too close ultimately to you.
You're
Perhaps it will keep me bogged down in the past. I'm going to take one night to consider it. I told him we were leaving together upon the new year. I still have a handful of nights to figure it out, to hopefully weigh what you've told me.
Of course.
My heart is screaming to defy what you say. But I can't very well ignore what you said. And it will surely flavor the relationship that John and I are trying to build.
You're a grown woman, Marie. I'm not going to stop you. I know I know it's torture trying to fight what your heart is telling you is the right thing to do, but not as your child, and not as a former lover, but as what I would hope is still a friend. You're making the right decision.
And she looks away from you like it's just too much for her to bear. Like you're watching the cracks forming in her heart in real time. Whatever her motivations may be for linking up with John, there's something real there deep down. But maybe she feels like this is your final lesson to her. And she kind of sniffles, just a muscle memory reaction from mortal days gone by. And she'll reach into the top of her dress and pull out a little handkerchief embroidered with an M, maybe one of the only personal possessions from her former life in France that she still has. And she just dabs away with the white immediately turning red in her eyes, just the corners. No streaks of tears, but just the dewy crimson spheres there at the corner of her eye. I think I'll do as you say. But it's funny. Maybe the thing I love isn't love itself. Maybe it isn't love that drives me, but the prospect and the enactment of the hearts that break in the perpetuity of unlife, that I break, that I suffer over and over again with every paramour that turns to dust, that meets the sun, that just walks away into the distance. Thank you, Rafe. And she'll give you a very small, chaste kiss on your cheek,
which he'll return. I don't know if you're planning on hanging around the city, but if you ever need a place to stay in an emergency, my door's open.
I'll keep that in mind, but I'd rather not darken your doorstep, seeing as it seems you're surrounded by darkness already. And with that, she'll sort of take your hands one last time. She'll start walking away, and she'll just turn her head. Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye, love.
And that's where we'll end this epilogue. I want to thank Patrick and also Sam for being involved in this epilogue as well. I'm not going to do the usual type of roundtable stuff, I think, because I think we're just going to do a bunch of links at the end. You can follow all our projects at Martlet Games on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter. So do that. And we will see you extremely soon for the next epilogue in this little series of epilogues after season 1 of London's Bleeding. So stay tuned. Thanks. Hello there, and welcome once again to Martlet Games. What you're about to see is an epilogue of our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle, London's Bleeding. If you're joining us for the first time, please check out the main chronicle on the Martlet Games YouTube channel. As a final warning, this is a game for mature audiences with themes of violence, war, and loss of player agency. Take care of yourself above all. And Walter, if you could please introduce yourself.
My name is Ben, and I'm playing Walter the Gangrel.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much to Ben for being my player in this chronicle, and to everyone at home watching these epilogues. Walter is built around the concept of strength and how it circulates, changes, and augments the power of his chosen tribe. In the past, the tribe was his fellow scuttlers or youth gang members in working class Manchester. Then, when the world went to war, his superior officers and fellow soldiers became Walter's tribe, forging strength in the unforgiving crucible of battle. This wartime tribe included Clarence Taylor, another young soldier, bright and eager. Their friendship grew into something more until the Battle of Cambrai. Clarence's fighting spirit broke then, his cowardice leading to defeat and death of many of Walter's compatriots. The tribe was destroyed. A wayward gangrel trench stalker embraced Walter after he was grievously wounded at Cambrai, feeding quite literally on his hate, grief, and desire for vengeance. The Great War ended, and Clarence returned to London, soon found by Walter, who immediately enacted a plan for the rehabilitation of Clarence's strength and will. Walter assumed Clarence's role as father and head of the Taylor family, composed of Edna, Clarence's wife, and Clarence's 3 children, John, Ralph, and Nigel. Surrounded by mortals in the form of the Taylor family and his mortal tribe, Walter hangs on to humanity with increasing difficulty as Clarence continues to disappoint him, stoking his ire. Walter, along with Rafe the Toreador, acted many times as the moral compass of the unusual coterie. We saw him protect Dr. Harvey Williamson from Wetterman Hospital, where Walter first encountered supernatural danger in London. He stood his ground with his coterie mates, keeping up with Lillian and supporting Tommy in his most vulnerable moment. Let's get started. We set the scene for this epilogue a few days after the events of the finale, where Walter has time to commune with his tribe and perhaps rest after the Christmas turmoil. Over like the 1 to 2 days that you're sort of back and resting, is there anything you want to sort of include in that time passage, like that you'd like to do?
No, we still want to touch base with the Taylors, make sure that their needs are taken care of.
Okay.
There was at some point I was going to meet John and his fiance before they
Correct.
left for the continent.
Yes, we are going to get to all of those things.
Okay.
So you're right on track.
And
So,
also with the pack, or with the tribe. I mean, it's one of those where it's, again, like as we spoke earlier, it's not lost on me. Now it's like Walter wasn't really involved with a lot of the supernatural stuff. He knew of the cam, didn't really care about it. He just kind of kept to his own affairs. But now things are starting to become a bit more microscoped. And so he's starting to be a bit more careful with the way that he enacts himself around his tribe, if that makes sense.
Completely. Yeah, it would make sense that you're exercising more caution because of, like you said, there's a lens on you now from the Camarilla, and even like the highest level of a Justicar has their eyes on you. So it makes sense that you try to conduct yourself like that. Okay, so we'll say it is the early evening around 6 p.m. On New Year's Eve. It's hard to believe that the new year will come with new peace for the world, at least for a time in certain parts. And with the major players in the Bloody Fist gang, Ash and the Winter Wind, perhaps there is some peace left for Walter. And as Walter is awakening from his day sleep, he sees a pair of familiar orange eyes. And then his vision zooms out onto a face of a wolf, smiling and panting, snout covered in blood. If you'll please make your rouse check at this time. And we'll just say you were at hunger 1 regardless.
Sure. I failed.
Okay. It's almost a seamless transition then from these eyes that you see into a low, gravelly voice in your mind. And you don't actually hear any words. It's just panting, snarling, saliva wicking as a snout flails.
Do I recognize this person?
Absolutely.
Or this thing? Oh, okay.
Most definitely. So you're waking up in your haven where your tribe resides as well. So if you're just walking out into that main kind of gathering area that we've seen many times before, couple beds, tables, chairs, not much in the way of decoration, but very, very secure. You can sort of hear the people there. This is kind of like now they've visited their families for Christmas. They've kind of done their due diligence there. So now they want to get together with the tribe and really celebrate this upcoming new year. So there's a lot of your guys there now that you would recognize. I'd say there's at least like a dozen, if not a couple more. So, they're kind of packed in close, and you can hear them talking about what they want to get into on this New Year's Eve, drinking, gambling. Some are even talking about what they can do to demonstrate their strength. Other than the partying, but rather things that are going to advance and reinforce the tribe. Then you see a couple of them playing that, like at a table playing 5-finger fillet with the knife.
Yeah. Mumbly pigs.
Right. And you also will notice probably between 2 and 4 new-ish looking faces, ones that you don't recognize as well. One at least you can identify as a war veteran in one way or another. And after noticing that, Jack Dory is going to come up, and actually he's got someone by the arm and is bringing them up to you, and Jack sort of stiffens up. Walter, I wanted to introduce you to someone.
Yes, Jack. Welcome back. Who did you bring with you?
And he sort of like tries to spin her slightly, and you see a shorter looking woman. Her age is kind of indeterminate because she has this sort of shiny, burnt looking quality to her skin. She's got like no like nasal cartilage and these really deep set cloudy eyes. No hair. So definitely would strike you as something you don't often see.
No.
And so Jack says, this is Betty.
Hello, Betty. Welcome to my home. Please enjoy yourself.
Thank you. It was Jack that brought me in. He said, you're a good lot, and I can do a few things that might be able to help around here.
Oh, yes? What in particular do you have in mind, Betty? What are your talents?
And she'll actually look at the two guys that were playing Five Finger Fillet, and they sort of get, she shoots them a really intense glance, and they sort of like are taken aback and sort of lean back away from the table. And she's gonna I'm gonna make a quick roll for Betty. Okay. So Betty, after a moment, takes rather grasps this round wooden table with a few things on it, and just with some exertion at the beginning, but then it seems extremely easy. She flips the table clean over, and it lands without even like jostling around. It's just like this complete flip, and it goes thuds on the ground. And she just looks at you and smiles.
Well, now, Betty, it seems like your strengths might be used better than rearranging the furniture. Am I correct?
Yes, I believe you'd be right about that.
So, Betty, is that your strength? How do you know our Jack Dory?
Well, he's been out looking for some new people. Someone, he said that he wanted to introduce to you, someone that would help the tribe, he said. And you know, looking like I do, it's not many shops that'll have me, not many men looking my way, really. So I'd like to be useful. I feel best when I'm being useful. So we just got to talking one day, hanging outside a pub, and here I am.
So, Betty, what do you do for a living?
Well, I was a washerwoman.
Right. Where do you live now?
Here in the East End. I live with two of my sisters.
Excellent. You're welcome to stay. And get a feel for the place. Thank you for showing me your strength. You said that Jack, what was Jack saying? Is Jack with us?
Yeah, Jack is just standing there right next to her, looking at you expectantly.
So look at Jack. Oh, so Jack, what kind of recruitment drives have you been holding?
Oh, it's nothing like that. Not a drive, something so formal and fancy. It's just I go out and I talk to people who, hanging out alone, and maybe seem like they have something extra to do, or looking for work or anything like that. The more people, the stronger we are, right?
That's the truth. Please enjoy yourself. Have a good time and ring in the new year.
And she'll just give a small nod, and she has this really like lovely, cute little smile, with actually these very nice straight white teeth. And so she'll go to mingle amongst them. Jack goes to potentially move in with the rest of the group, but he stops and he looks at you.
Come here, Jack.
Yes, Walter.
Come with me, please.
All right. And he'll follow you wherever you're going.
Just to a corner, somewhere.
Okay.
Not out of the way, but just somewhere where I could talk to him.
Yeah, you'll just the living spaces is pretty open. It's kind of deliberately so that there's a lot of room to circulate. So you'll just kind of go in the back left corner of this living
Okay.
area where there's like a clock or something like that.
Okay. Jack, who is Betty? I know you just told me, but we have to be careful now.
I mean, you just had the conversation with her. I mean,
Of course I did, and I was putting on my best face, putting my best foot forward.
I thought I did something good.
You might have, Jack. You might have. But right now, we also want to make sure that we do our due diligence on anybody we bring into the clubhouse. How do we know she doesn't have any bloody fist ties?
I mean, I ain't never seen her with the red cloth wrapped around her hand or anywhere on her. Like,
she have any brothers?
No, it's just her and two sisters in some flat.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jack. You've done a great, wonderful help, and she and you are welcome to stay the night and enjoy.
And he is looking at you a bit warily because he definitely like wanted your full approval for this, but he sort of just goes, "You did say we should get more women."
You're right. I did. You're absolutely right, Jack. You've done nothing wrong. You've done a great service here. Please do not take my air of caution to be any admonishment towards you. I will be careful.
And you know we all appreciate you looking out for us. Like, we really do. I just want to help, that's all.
Thank you, Jack. You have helped.
I'm glad.
Also, she flipped a table.
Yeah, isn't it a great trick? She did it at the pub. It was bloody incredible.
Which pub was this at?
Old Prospect.
Old Prospect.
Yeah, it's down further toward the Thames. Little east of here.
Ben can't remember. What was the name of the pub we went to meet up with
to meet up with Myron, or to meet up with
Myron.
That one would be the Drunken Dancer.
Okay.
But Walter would recognize the Old Prospect as being the pub where you met Jonathan and Douglas, the two bloody fist guys, when you were waiting outside the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
That one night. Yeah. Sorry.
To my character mind, or to the player mind, it's adding up like this is just she's a Nosferatu in my house.
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Don't worry about it. It'll be interesting to find out.
Sure. Okay, so Jack will again circulate, and you kind of just have a moment where no one's like coming up to you and just sort of viewing the scene of everybody kind of happy together. Like, what does Walter feel?
It feels nice. It really does. I feel like we're starting to build the camaraderie. I like hearing what we're hearing, but it's also in my mind that we will like I'm trying to work in the pack, all that stuff I spent, but it's just one of those where it's like I really feel like this is turning into what I want it to be. So I'm gonna go introduce myself to some of the newer faces and try to be more cordial, and then eventually I will start to get up and address the group.
And when you go around to meet some of the newer members, like, they all are very warm and appreciative toward you. Like, you don't get any like bad vibes necessarily from any of them. At least nothing that you can like detect on a surface level. Everything seems to be pretty cool. And rather than the seemingly random encounter between Jack and Betty, everybody else, it's more like a couple degrees of separation. Like, oh, this is like my second cousin, or this is like, you know, a guy I served with earlier on in the war, or something like that. Like the connections are a little bit more concrete. Okay, so you would like to address the group.
Yeah. So I kind of do the
why don't you, before you address them, why actually don't you roll me charisma and leadership?
Okay.
I don't think your specialty applies here.
No, I don't think so. I'm not trying to recruit anybody.
Right.
1.
Do you want to blow willpower to re-roll any?
Sure.
Because your willpower is completely refreshed. You got it all ready to be spent.
I've never used it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so you can roll up to 3 non-hunger dice.
Okay. I will re-roll 2 because the success was on one of my non-hunger dice.
Sure, no problem.
We got 2.
Okay.
2 total.
Cool. So before you start speaking, you're happy to be up in front of your tribe again. It feels like a while, and you're filled with this hope that they're not going to disappoint you this time. You feel like though this is a better place, a better situation, but there's just that glaring eye from the ivory tower that you can feel its gaze shifting to you, and this arrangement that frankly may not be very cool with some of the Camarilla. And you sort of feel that pressure build up in you right before you're about to speak.
So I address everybody. Friends, tribesmen, brothers, sisters. Thank you for everything you've done for the past year. And I want to show my appreciation to everyone. It is important that we hold our bonds tight, that we watch out for each other, for our brothers and our sisters, that we show our strength not just in brawn, but also in our mind, in our dealings, and in our morals. It is these past couple of weeks, we've seen many things happening here in East London that have put many people in places that they would rather not be. We've seen doctors get attacked. We've seen warehouses get ransacked. We've seen stories of people showing up in the rivers, and it's getting worse. So it is us and our side, ours, with our strength. We have to watch out for each other, watch out for each other's families, and watch out for each other's friends. And above all, we do not speak about what we do here, for our secrecy is our strength.
And they look at each other slightly when you say secrecy, but
our confidentiality, if you will. So again, enjoy yourselves. Look out for each other. And enjoy this new year. And we will share our strength with each other in the future.
And there's a there's a palpable like energy, like they agree with what you're saying, like they're taking it in, they're taking it to heart, but you can tell that some of them are kind of restless to
Mm-hmm.
just like chill and just kind of party. um and you can see, maybe you can observe like one or two faces when you say that like you're gonna share your strength in a future time. They're just like
Man.
but nobody says anything.
Yeah.
Nobody says anything. Okay, so they give a little hoot and holler, and then they'll disperse. A couple of them will pat you on the back and pat you on the shoulder, smiles all around for the most part. um so you would have known that you're invited to a New Year's Eve uh sort of gathering, not really gathering, but just of the Taylors at their
Yes.
residence. So you would know that, they're expecting you to show up at some point.
And when I feel the things are rolling at the
Okay.
at my place,
Mm-hmm.
I will take my absence and wish do kind of like an Irish goodbye, just be like, you guys are doing really well.
Yeah, and everyone's at this point definitely carousing, and your exit is pretty seamless. Give me a wits and awareness really quick. This is as you're leaving your house.
Two.
You think you saw a couple of them leave. You don't remember which people left, but doesn't necessarily mean anything, but you notice that probably a group of like 4 to 5 have exited in that time. Maybe one out the back way. So all right, you will leave. Are you going right to the residence?
I'm gonna I guess I'll not straight to the residence. I'll mosey around, just kind of like different places that I'm employed at, just kind of
Okay.
hit those up on the way there if they're somewhat on the way.
Yeah, you'd probably pass one or two places that you've posted up for security at one
Mm-hmm.
point or another. um and everything's looking in order. Now, there's definitely some activity in the pubs, probably more than there should be during a pandemic, but uh people are very excited to celebrate. So um yeah, nothing particularly off about those places. And like if you would stop and like talk to a doorman or a bartender, they would be like, oh, well, like they might offer you a drink or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming you're kind of just on your way, just kind of looking in.
Yeah, making sure there's no immediate need.
Right.
Trying to play saint of the neighborhood.
Yeah, apparently. Gosh, that cross is heavy, huh? So yeah, everything is looking good there. So you are going to come within probably about 2 blocks of the Taylor house. And you're going to pass a familiar abandoned flat where you and Clarence shared a feeding exchange earlier on in London's Bleeding. A wind sort of passes by at that time. Please give me another wits and awareness.
Two.
Okay, cool. So you will hear coming from this abandoned flat, like as you are starting to walk by it. And the door is kind of like gone at this point, and you'll know that there's like an upstairs part of it as well. Like it's just a living area, and then kind of used back to a stairway that goes up. And you hear from this upstairs area, it's muffled, but you hear a woman's voice, and you hear a man's voice, and the volume of the man's voice is steadily increasing, and it sounds familiar to you.
I go up to investigate.
Okay, so you'll go through the flat. It's not nice in here. There are rats, there are other nasty things, nothing like egregious, but it's just in disrepair in every way, broken furniture. So you're going up the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll go up the stairs. Are you trying to be quiet or sneaky or anything like that?
Yeah, let's try to be not obvious.
Do you have, let me see.
I've got a dot in stealth.
You do have a dot in stealth. Okay. So let's I would like you to actually roll Dex and stealth, please.
Okay.
Because the stairs don't look good either.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not necessarily, there's nothing that would indicate that there's going to be a problem, but you just don't know. So
well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time actively trying to sneak up. Like I'd rather just like try to be quiet with my footfall.
Absolutely.
And I've got a 2.
Okay, and that's enough to let you climb the stairs at a reasonable pace while also being quiet. So as far as you can tell, the people haven't been tipped off to your presence. So you get to the top of the stairs, and it's a very small hallway, and there's like a bedroom to the left, but this one, there is a door, and it is actually closed. But now that you're closer to where the voices originate, you hear a woman's voice with a very distinct French accent, though she is speaking English. And I'm not going to do that, so use your imagination.
Sure.
So she's saying,
not what I expected to hear.
Okay. She's saying, I know, I don't want this either. I don't want it. I don't want to do this, but I have no choice. You can't possibly understand what it's like to come from a family like mine. It's a whole different world. Don't you see, John? And then you hear John's voice. I don't understand why you're doing this. What? We've been inseparable. There's no reason. We have our whole lives ahead of us. We're going to get away from here. We can go back to your family. We can be with your family. I thought, don't you love me? What? Are you making any effort to go in the room? Or are you still outside?
I'm
listening?
Still trying to get a feel for the type of, I mean, it sounds like she's breaking up with him and he's not dealing with it well.
Right. So she will continue.
I'll knock on the door.
And you hear her start to speak and then stop as she hears the knock. And John will actually open the door, and he looks kind of surprised. You can tell like he's already been crying for a while. He has red and puffy eyes. He looks very pale. His hair is disheveled. His coat is kind of half off of him. Walter, what are you
My
what are you
mistake.
doing here?
I heard yelling on from the street, and I was making sure everybody was all right. John, I'm very surprised to see you here, but I'm glad to see that you're okay. Miss, are you okay?
And you look in her direction, and the contrast between her appearance and this abandoned row home is just incredible. She looks like a Renaissance painting. Perfect porcelain white skin, small nose, plump lips, curvaceous figure in this almost ostentatious purple gown, and this fine, like tightly fitted black coat with sash around it. And she's got long, wavy brown hair.
Well, now, mademoiselle, I'm afraid that this place is much less becoming to someone from your temperament, I'm sure. Would it be more pleasing if everyone went to a more clean establishment?
And I'm just gonna make a quick roll for her. She's barely holding it together. And you could tell she is using her will to just not cry and sob. Like, but her chest and her body are surprisingly still.
I look at John. No, we've all been in love before. Groveling like this is not a way to get someone to stay. How about
You don't understand this.
John?
You know nothing of her.
We can discuss, but right now it's best to get yourself together. Tuck in your shirt and wipe your eyes.
And he'll glare at you for a second, but he will tuck in his shirt. He'll pull out a handkerchief from his coat and sort of wipe the tears from his eyes. And the woman will.
To the woman.
Okay.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wasn't. Ma'am, you seem to be holding it together quite admirably. If there is something you would like to tell John, now would be the time. I don't think it's this environment that's putting you in this state. Please be truthful. That is the strong thing to do.
And she looks away for a minute and then looks right back at you. Some of the will returning to her just slightly. I have suffered many heartaches in my lifetime. This is the freshest one, and it does sting. But John is a strong man, and he will get on without me. But if you insist we can leave and go somewhere else, I dare say that is quite the right idea in my mind. And she'll actually just move past you and John and start walking down the stairs.
Okay, I grab John under my wing.
Okay.
It's best we move.
And, you know, his body language
No,
indicates
he's pissed. I get it.
he's pissed and just burdened. So you'll all leave the house uneventfully. And where did you want to go? Did you want to go to the residence? It's only 2 blocks away, but it's up to you. You can go somewhere else if you want.
Let's use my wits. And do I have streetwise? I do have streetwise. There must be a reasonably cleaned up area that I know of in the area that we can have a conversation.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then definitely make me that wits and streetwise.
I would like to blow another willpower.
No problem.
All right, 2.
2. Okay, and that'll put you at 3 unspent willpower. Is that correct?
That's 2 unspent willpower.
You spent 3? I thought you had 5 total.
I did have 5 total. I've only spent 2.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it might take you like 10 minutes or so, maybe not as expeditiously as you would have liked to find somewhere better, but let's say you'll find this like really small like merchant storefront that's like obviously closed, but because of it's like it's a legitimate establishment, so they'll actually be like, it's still outside, but it's like a swept area, and there's like an overhang, like an awning, that probably has like a little garland on it or something for Christmas, and like a sign that says closed for the holiday or something like that. But it's like a cleaner area, so you can't, I mean, if you want to pick a lock to get inside of the shop, you could, but
that's not how we show our bona fides to strangers.
Okay, just making sure you knew it was an option. So yeah, so it's nice, like they're everything's sort of organized, like the boxes are all stacked nicely, and it's just distinctly this like slightly cleaner corner of this Shadwell Basin area, near Shadwell Basin. So the woman will walk under an awning, and she'll kind of lean on a stack of heavy boxes. And she's wearing heels that are quite high for walking around on this East End stone. But it doesn't seem to bother her at all. And she never really falters in her step. And she'll light a cigarette and put it in and have it in this long silver holder, and she'll start smoking. And she looks pretty stoic in this moment. Like she's definitely composed herself, and she just seems generally more at ease. And then so you'll get under the awning with John, and John is just staring at her, like waiting for her to say something or continue to explain herself.
I'll start. Mademoiselle, my name is Walter Price, Mr. Price. I am a family friend of the Taylors for quite some time. John is a good young lad I've known for a while. I do not intend to get in the middle of whatever this is. But when I see my lad distressed like this, I just want to make sure that he's been taken care of. But there's nothing funny going on. John, if I have made a grave miscalculation, please correct me. But
and He'll look at you
I believe introductions are in order.
and he'll take a breath. Walter, this is Jeanette Bordeaux, my former fiance. And Jeanette at that moment will stand up and she'll sort of put her cigarette holder like in her hand by her side, and she'll come up to you, Walter, and give you a kiss on the cheek. Why don't you give me a wits and insight, please? You've got one in insight, so.
Okay. Negative. Nope. That's a 7, not a 1. We got a 1.
You got a 1.
Yeah.
You will smell a very fine perfume on her mixed with this cigarette smoke, and the cigarettes are definitely expensive. Like they have just sort of this more sophisticated smell than like the hand rolled ones that you're used to your boys dealing in. And she seems to just have this bodily contradiction of looking very petite and fragile, but there's something very fortified about her physical form, that her muscles and tendons are tight and just ready to blast off at any moment.
And that puts me on edge.
As it probably should.
Everything puts me on edge now.
Sorry. So she'll once she gives you the kiss, she'll nod. Yes, Jeanette Bordeaux. I come from outside of Paris. John, I had come after a very long trip away from France when the war ended. And I met him. He was working as an apprentice tailor, and she's a tailor, and she kind of goes, just can't help but chuckle a little too on the nose. And I had needed some things mended, and he was there. We fell in love, and she looks at him, at John. And now it's over.
Does this make you sad?
Of course. I wanted to bring him to my family, like I said, and to show him a life of luxury and abundance. But it's no longer possible. And my heart is broken. But as I said, my life has been naught but a series of heartbreak. And so the heart hardens, does it not?
It does. We've got to work very hard to massage it back to softness.
And you'll see her smirk.
I kind of.
You kind of what?
Oh, I just kind of like subtle motion to John.
And so Jeanette will kind of look away from you, and she'll position herself like more directly in front of John, who's just kind of been sitting or standing there with crossed arms and just kind of looking left and right, kind of trying to take his focus off of her, with the threat of breaking down at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeanette will sort of maneuver his hands out of that and arms out of the cross position to take his hands in hers. I know you don't believe me. I know you think I'm just running away and I don't care, but it's not true. I thought that we could be together somewhere better, somewhere else, but there's too much to explain. I thought I could get away from it. I thought I could. The expectations, the gaze of my family watching everything I do. But I can't, and I never will be able to. And it's safer if you stay here and do something with your life without me. Can't you understand that? I'm trying to protect you.
No. Please allow me to interrupt. What exactly are you sparing, my lad? What danger is he in right now?
There is no danger upon his head presently.
But you just said if he were to stay with you, there would be danger. What kind of danger are we talking about?
When we return to the fold of my family in France, they're not good people.
I've met bad people. Do you need help?
And she'll smirk again. No, I don't need help.
It's funny, is it?
Again, it's simply impossible for you to understand. And I'm actually going to make a roll for her very quickly. Okay.
Like metagaming, she's something, but I just need to figure out what
you need to shh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just giving you hard. No, honestly, it's completely fine. I'm just having fun. Oh boy. Okay. You're a stranger to me. I assure you. I am not in danger. It's only if John accompanies me that there will be strife and turmoil. And as I have said, I will not subject him to that. And our love blinded me to the fact that there are these expectations that will follow me until I lie in my grave. And John is just
John, can you tell me
Just-
what you love about Miss Bordeaux?
must I really say?
It might
Isn't
help.
this humiliating enough for me?
Humiliation is strength.
It's the very antithesis that makes no sense.
What? Telling
That
people how you
humiliation is strength.
humility is strength. Humiliation is just the embarrassment of humility.
And he's just, the gears are turning.
You don't have to if you don't want to. But this woman's
No.
about to walk out of your life. Thought maybe you'd want to say something nice to her.
Oh, I should say something nice to her. Well, what I did love about Jeanette, her passion, her spontaneity, her joie de vivre. She shines like a star wherever she goes. She entrances all who meet her. Obviously, she's extremely beautiful, like nothing I've ever seen. But it doesn't matter. Please, Jeanette, just go. Just leave, please. And Jeanette will straighten up. She runs a hand through her wavy brown hair. You're right. It's time. London. I don't know why I even came.
Why did you come?
And she's going to start walking away. Are you making any attempt to stop her or say anything to her? Absolutely up to you.
I'll say loudly to John. Say, John, have you ever cooked that woman breakfast right at dawn?
At dawn?
Yeah. A nice early morning breakfast for her.
No, she doesn't eat much.
She's a bit of a night owl, is she?
And he's just looking puzzled. Like, he's just... I mean, yes, I mean, that was her bread and butter, the nightlife anywhere she went, and entertaining. And yes, we spent many, many, many nights together.
How many lunches?
I don't think we really had a lunch. She has her own affairs to tend to during the day.
I look at John, fully squared up. John, I've been in love before as well. But no amount of telling, there's nothing you can do to this woman to make her stay. If you would like, I could show you a good time, and we can bark at the moon until we forget all about her.
And he'll look away. He's really trying not to cry at this point. Actually, I'm going to give him a quick roll. Not bad for old John. He looks away in a pained moment, and you can hear the wind circulating, this cold wind that has no effect on you whatsoever. This sort of picturesque, almost little storefront, closed for the holiday. Maybe hear some music from a pub not far away. It's almost like everything's normal. Everything's typical. But you know it's not. And John, he does stiffen up.
Let's go say hi to your mom.
Yes, we better get to her. Don't want to keep her waiting any longer.
As an aside, I do recognize that name Bordeaux from my time over across the channel. Do you know where she's staying? I think I might have some business with her.
She was just staying at a hotel in Notting Hill somewhere.
And that's the last we speak of her. Let's go.
Thank God. And let's see. You will then go back to the Taylor residence. You're still not very far. It only takes you, it probably takes you less than 10 minutes to get there. And the house looks good. There's, maybe some additional, little decorations here and there, a star hung up above the door. And John will go first, and he's just going to go right in, or unless there's something you want to do before you went in the house.
Nope.
Okay. So John will answer first, you afterward, and you will see actually Edna and Clarence sitting on the couch together.
Oh.
And upon you entering, they'll both look at you. Their looks at you are distinct. Edna's is this sorrowful admiration, and Clarence, it's love. Nothing else. And I think that's where we'll end your epilogue.
Okay.
So, if the time went by so fast, honestly, I really enjoy role playing with you. You did a great job.
I really hope we got enough story beats in there for you. I mean,
yeah, this was my plan. This was the whole thing. We did good. I want to thank everybody for watching again at home. Please check out the rest of London's Bleeding if you haven't seen it. We have a couple more epilogues coming up for you. So look out for them. We're gonna have them in some kind of mashup, 1 part, 2 parts, kind of depends. But we have more in store for you. So please stay tuned. And Ben, any parting thoughts or where we can find you?
No, thank you for having me in London's Bleeding. It's been a blast. I've said over and over again. I'm happy to be part of Sarah's first chronicle, and I've never really played a character like this. I've been trying to flex my emotional depth muscles, and I hope that everybody's enjoying it. If not, just let me know in Discord. Yeah, I don't have the socials, but I'm on Discord pretty often now. You'll catch me in some of the more fun areas to be. So
Yes, he has lots of good music recommendations. Um, so yeah, keep him in the Discord if you're lucky enough to be in it. Um, yes, I've heard nothing but positive feedback for Walter and his journey, and Clarence and the family. I think he's very well liked. People have responded very well. So keep up with us on all our social media. Martlet Games on Twitter, on Twitch. You can find me. My name is Sarah. I was the storyteller on MC Diabetes on Twitter as well. That's where all my projects are. You can find those. So please keep up to date with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
so long. Take care.